Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while since I made the last video, so I'm finally back playing some Final Fantasy 13. So yeah, pretty much we're getting through the junkyard here. This will eventually take us to the Nautilus, I believe, so that shouldn't be too far ahead anyway, but just a bunch of updates actually. I was actually down south visiting my girlfriend for Valentine's Day, so we were able to hang out and do some stuff together. But most importantly, the trailer for Dissidia. There's a new Dissidia game coming out, pretty much. Is what I wanted to mention. Completely new Dissidia. It's actually being made for arcades, and I'll link the trailer in the comments below or in the description below, so you guys can check it out. But game looks really cool. Kind of implements the 3-player game mechanics now, or well, maybe one playable character and the other 2 are considered support characters, kind of like in Naruto. Not so sure if you guys played Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm or any game of that series, but pretty much the way that the fighting mechanic works is that you have one playable character and you have 2 other support characters that you can summon in the midst of battle. And yeah, but maybe it's one of those things where you could create a party of 3 and you could switch interchangeably with each character. But based on the gameplay we saw, I mean, nothing really much was shown differently. I mean, it looks like your typical Dissidia game. You have like pretty much the same type of combat. You get the 3-dimensional free roam type combat. They showed some characters like the Warrior of Light, Cloud, Ishtola from Final Fantasy 14. Not so sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but it's pretty much the Mikote White Mage or Mage support character in that game. So I'm kind of glad that Final Fantasy 14 is getting love in the Dissidia franchise. What kind of struck me unusually was the absence of Noctis, and with Final Fantasy 15 over the horizon, you would think that maybe they would advertise it by having Noctis as a playable character, but I guess maybe to maintain some of the plot points and, you know, to prevent any spoilers, they didn't add him in quite yet. But I mean, he's bound to be put in the game at that point. But my main point is this: when I saw the gameplay trailer, the graphics were significantly boosted, more detail. Of course, like I said before, it says that, for the trailer, mentions that it's for arcade machines, so maybe if it does very well in arcades, it will most likely make it over to console and maybe handheld like the Vita, since the first 2 Dissidia games were on the PSP. But I've been noticing a lot of PS Vita games are having a PS4 version made simultaneously to the Vita version. So, for example, games like God Eater 2 is getting a re-release in Japan, or it was re-released in Japan, and not only was it a Vita version, there was also a PS4 version to coincide with its release, and the graphics seem like they are the same mainly, but I believe the reason why they're making it on the PS4 is for, you know, the larger install base, to accommodate the larger install base, and it makes sense. Another game that does this is Tokiden, and that was primarily a Vita game or a handheld game. And now when Tokiden Kiwami came out, they also made a PS4 version of it, so I'm not surprised on that front, because the Vita is not really I guess a strong product of Sony's, or a strong install base for that matter. So anyway, back to my point. They showed it off for arcade machines, so I'm hoping that they'd re-release it on, like, or port it over to like PC or PS4, or, you know, any other console for that matter. You know, spread the love. You know, don't just limit it to arcade machines or handhelds. You know, put it on a console, put it on Xbox One and PS4. think that would be great, I think. I mean, more so having it as a PS4 exclusive, if possible, considering much of the cast were from the PS1 era. But it'd be nice to see Sephiroth and all the other characters in higher resolution, higher polygon count, pretty much like in better detail. But yeah, I think I mentioned it before, I do intend on maybe doing a little bit of a analysis video pertaining to that. I mean, there's not really much to analyze, but just to take note of some of the changes that they made. But the game does look good. I mean, I just hope that they add more characters. I mean, one of the things about Dissidia, I mean, while we're on the topic of Dissidia, let's talk about it. One of the things about Dissidia that I kind of felt wasn't touched up upon was there was a good lack of characters in there. I mean, you had the main characters from all the other Final Fantasies, but what about the supporting cast? I mean, they eventually did put Tifa in there. They did eventually put Kain in there, but I'm like, where's Zell from Final Fantasy VIII? He was one of my favorite characters from that particular game. And, you know, Rinoa, or Cypher, or Safer, or however you pronounce his name, like, I feel like he would have been a really nice character to play as. But, you know, like, not just Final Fantasy VIII, but all the other Final Fantasies, like, Final Fantasy XII, like, where's Benello? Where's Fran? Where's Balthier? Final Fantasy IX, where's Vivi? You know, where's Amarant? Like, those characters were pretty cool. Like, playing as Steiner, I think, would have been pretty cool, too. Especially with their trance modes. I mean, point is, I kind of feel like they could have added more supporting cast. Because there are a lot of other popular supporting casts, too. Like Final Fantasy VI, I mean, you had Tina, or Terra. But what about Sabin, or Edgar, or Shadow? You know, why not put all the ninjas in there? Put Edge from FF4 in there. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they'd be missing, since they're such popular characters. But I mean, I do understand, due to the limitations of the PSP, they weren't able to add as many characters. But this time around, since it is coming out on arcade, I mean, who's to say that they wouldn't add those characters? I guess they should. Wouldn't make sense not to. And maybe they'll have multiplayer, well, multi-character battles. Maybe you could fight like maybe 6 characters simultaneously, like kind of like a Super Smash Brothers type of mashup. You have this big, like, open battlefield. You got 6 players going at each other, either free for all or team deathmatch, maybe. I think that would be cool. But I find it peculiar that it's coming out for arcade, because usually when something comes out on arcade, they try to look at it at a competitive point of view, and I don't really see that game being competitive in any way. It seems more like a well, Dissidia to me always felt like it was more like for fan service. It wasn't really like a fundamental game with competitive potential, you know? Because there are characters that are just blatantly overpowered. So wow, I'm distracted. I wasn't sure what I was doing this whole time. I think I'm pushing the right buttons. But anyway, yeah. I have high hopes for Dissidia. I hope for a higher cast, or a larger cast this time around. The gameplay is fine. Like, I'm not really, you know, I'm not really a fan of the combat, I'll be honest with you. I think it would have been better if it was like a traditional fighting game like Street Fighter, or maybe like a Marvel vs. Capcom, kind of like that side-scroller type competitive fighting game. But considering what Final Fantasy is and how they popularized it using you know, all these like different types of I guess acrobatics, combat, I think Final Fantasy characters are seen more than just, you know, the turn-based counterparts that they once were. I mean, I think ever since Advent Children came out, I think the fans' perceptions of how these characters work or fight have been skewed a little bit. So you have like this high action, highly choreographed fight scenes with these characters, and before you don't really see much of that. I mean, Final Fantasy VIII had that opening cutscene with Cypher and Squall having that duel in the beginning, and I think that was the extent of like the choreography and like, you know, how complicated the moves were. But when I saw Advent Children, I'm like, damn, there's some like crazy action scenes going up in here. But wow, I'm getting distracted right now, just rambling. But yeah, like, I think ever since Advent Children came out, Final Fantasy has always had this like high octane, high action type component to it. So I don't remember like Final Fantasy 10 and below having like fight scenes so intricate and so like over the top. I think I missed a button. But yeah, over the top action does fit the Final Fantasy name so far. And Dissidia, I mean, the gameplay mechanics of Dissidia are acceptable, I suppose, but I would have preferred it to be like a traditional fighting game, like a Street Fighter, or like maybe like a Tekken or Ultimate Street Fighter. I mean, or a Ultra Marvel vs. Capcom, or maybe even like, I don't know, like a Guilty Gear with sprites. But yeah, moving off topic, again, just noticing the puzzle elements from this game. Not really much of like a puzzle here. Just activate all 4 of these consoles and then you get open the door. But yeah, I'm excited for Dissidia, and stay tuned for a analysis, I guess. Again, there's not much to really like assess from what was shown, but I'll talk about some things that I thought were unusual. The only problem is, I mean, knowing Square Enix's track record, they take their sweet time with their projects. And considering they have so many projects going on right now, they got Kingdom Hearts still in development, they got Final Fantasy 15 in development, they're still making content for Final Fantasy 14. Like Heavensward, the new expansion's coming out for FF14 like next month, I believe. There's a ton of stuff coming out. So it kind of worries me when Square Enix announces games, because when they do, it usually takes forever. I mean, look at Final Fantasy 15. I mean, the game was originally known as Final Fantasy Versus 13. It was supposed to be part of the Final Fantasy 13, I guess, anthology or franchise, but that game has been in development for like more than 6 years. I think 7 years now. No. 9 years now. And I mean, I think Square Enix needs to learn from their mistakes, and you just don't hype a product and then just leave your fan base hanging for like 9 years. And then for what? To make a sequel to Final Fantasy 13? So instead of like working on Versus 13, they decidedly went to release Final Fantasy 13-2 and then work on Lightning Returns. And quite frankly, I kind of feel like their efforts could have been focused more so on Versus 13. But enough of my ranting. Here is a cutscene for your viewing pleasure. Wow. She knows he's a perverted old man. And he is. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? What does that even mean? She's inviting you, bro. Don't turn that down. She wants the Zaz magic. And here is Mr. Sid. I kind of do like this version of Sid.
呪われし存在パルスのルシとしての使命をセラが国軍の敵だってのか多くの者はそう考えるさパルスについて我々はあまりにも無知だからな国軍のために君らの真実を知りたいのだ国軍のためルシだって国軍の人間だそれを追い出そうって関係ない人間までパージしてそれが国軍のためかよそれが政府のやり方だ知らないからこそ人は怯える立て続けに起きたパルスの恐怖に市民はもう限界に近いそこで政府は次なる計画を打ち出したルシの公開処刑だ所詮市民は無知だからな恐怖の対象を目の前で消してやればそれだけで安堵するくそすでに他のルシたちの情報も政府の手中にある時間の問題だろうなあいつらは捕まらないさならば君に協力してもらうほかないセラ
Oh my god. More cheesiness.
冗談だろ
本気だから
I kind of hate how they keep Tarantinoing it. They'll start at one point of the game and then they'll flash back to one point and then they'll flash forward and flash back again. Just makes the story confusing.
一人でいるより一緒の方が幸せだって分かっちまった。今さら一人は絶対無理だ。
They never even explained how they even met for the first time.
別れるの。会うのは今日が最後。とにかくもう私につきまとわないで。
何があった？理由ぐらい教えてくれ。俺が悪いんだったら言っちゃえよ。
I mean, up to this point, she's just always just been this weird love interest. Like, the plot point surrounding her isn't really that strong, I felt. Like, she's been branded, she has a focus.
パルスの印。ルシになったの。国運の敵。人間の敵。
Yeah, kinda dumb.
これで分かった。
But I will say, and I said this many times before, Japanese voices do make it more bearable. More bearable than the English dub.
さよなら。
That's the one thing about Japanese drama too. It's like you can't. It's very difficult to match that, I guess, degree of emotion. Like you can't word it the same way they say it, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, Japanese dialogue in general, they like to say each other's names with emphasis. They like to say but and you know, they have a lot of ellipses, they have a lot of pauses. It's kind of weird how the pre-rendered cutscene transitions to real-time stuff. Wow. And this is just another pointless playable portion of the game. They kind of give you the illusion that you're in a town and you could actually go around and explore, but it's really just a limited space. But I mean, I do like the art style. I mean, look at the interior design of this. Like, let's just be serious for a second. Like this is good art, I think. Like, the artistic value, I never thought was a negative characteristic of this game or a negative point of this game. But it's just, I mean, Square Enix has always been really good artists, but I think as storytellers, you can't really match what Hinorobu Sakaguchi did. Because Hinorobu Sakaguchi, to me, was, I mean, you can't replace the guy. He was the original father of Final Fantasy, and like so, you can't really reproduce some of the stories he had. And I mean, his stories weren't not like, you know, life-changing or like, I don't know, like those type of stories that makes you want to change your life. You know, you don't really play a game like, oh, to change your life. Like, oh, I need some kind of like revelation or some kind of epiphany. But the stories in the original Final Fantasy is definitely better written. I mean, all they really have now is the music and, you know, the visuals. You know, mainly the visual audio artistic value is still there. But Final Fantasy has had better stories, better delivery of dialogue. I thought the dialogue in Final Fantasy XII was done very well. Like, FF12 had a very Shakespearean type dialogue to it. Here it's like, you know, a soap opera. Very, very soap opera. I'll protect you. And I'm clearly twice your age. again, there's no. I don't think they ever directly explain how they met.
伝説の通りなら使命が済んだらクリスタルだよ。
大丈夫だ。使命を果たしたルシはクリスタルになって永遠を手に入れる。永遠ってことは死ぬわけじゃねえ。なんとかなるさ。俺たちはずっと一緒だ。
I don't think they even match at all. I mean, look at those. I don't know.
たとえ死しか待っていなかったとしても、
The clothes they
セ
wear.
ラならきっと
Their personalities don't really mesh well
最後まで戦った
together.
と思う。
Here we are, the Gapra Whitewood. I always thought that this place was based off of something from Phantasy Star Online. It had a very Phantasy Star Online type vibe to it. Especially with the whole like sci-fi slash like bio-organic plants. Or cyber bio-organic plants, I guess, if you would like to call them that.
私が前衛、お前はバックアップだ。僕が前に。
Ooh, wants to man up.
できるのか？
Let him be the man.
できるできないの問題じゃないです。いい度胸だな。前だけ見てろ。背中を守る。はい。
Oh boy. Blossoming friendship. Or perhaps even more. Proto-ecology belt. Alright guys.
やりたいようにやっている。
I think this is a good spot to end it. Trying to do shorter segments, but I'm still getting up to the half an hour mark. Like I'm like, at the very least, I want to finish my videos less than 30 minutes. But with that said, gonna end it now. I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully we can get through this entire I guess area in one segment or one episode. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my playthrough, and we'll see you next time.